Morning everyone, Mr. Gordon here in my garden. I'm about to go to my artist studio with my dog Nellie, who you may be able to see in the picture, and show you how I'm doing a painting based on Impressionism and gesture painting. So it might give you some ideas of work you want to do while you're at home as well. So let's go to my studio and have a look at what I'm going to do. Go Nellie. So this is my studio at the end of the garden. I had it built 3 years ago, and this is where I paint at the weekends and when I have some time. I tend to paint mostly Impressionism and seascapes. Come and have a look and see what I'm going to do for this short film. So I'm going to be working on a canvas which I've just collected, 60 by 60 centimeters, and what I'm going to do is I have in my studio I have a travel easel which I use when I go and paint out in the landscape and seascapes. But obviously at the minute I can't be outside. Normally I'd be painting right in front of the sea or the landscape, and I try and paint as quickly as I can and try and get a study down which is quite quick and quite gestural and quite impressionistic, and really without spending too many hours drawing it all out or being too worried about how it's going to look. I'm just trying to get an idea of maybe a lovely landscape or a seascape that's in front of me, and I have a limited time because obviously the light and everything changes. The sea could be coming in, the tide could be coming in. So I try and work as fast as I can. However, because I haven't got a seascape, because I can't go anywhere, I wasn't at Durdle Door this weekend, tombstoning. I've printed off a photograph of an old seascape from some time ago. It's roughly square, the same as a canvas, and I'm going to, in the first session, just put the sky down as quickly as I can, as if I was painting outside. What I tend to do is split my canvas into a third or 2/3, but this time I'm going to split it right across the middle. I'll put some tape across and I'll put the sky down as fast as I can. If you want to watch me, we'll see how it goes. I'm terrible at painting straight lines, so even if I was outside and I wanted my sky to be about half of the picture, I will use some masking tape. It's not too sticky so it doesn't tear everything, and just put it on and just keep it here while I paint the sky, just so I've got roughly a straight line. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that will do. Okay, then I need to mix up my paint. I use the old covers that come with the canvas as my palette, and what I want to do is just use a couple of colours which I think would be perfect. So I'm going to use cobalt blue and white to create my sky. I'm going to mix them up now. They're water-based oil paints, which means I can mix these oil paints with water and therefore thin them down. But what I tend to do is when I paint is I tend to try not to use too much water and mix the colours as I go, and we'll see how they look. I might use 3 colours for this. I might even use a different blue as well, just to the top, because skies tend to be dark and fade as they come down. So let's have a go and I'll show you, see what we can get done in 10 minutes. Nice soft brushes, big brushes, because I don't want to paint detail. And a bit of water to soften the oil paint. Mix it all down. A bit of darker to start with. And we'll make a start, see how it goes. Now, because I don't want to really copy slavishly this picture, I'm just going to see there's a big darker area at the top, a lighter sky, and I'll try and paint that in. There's a few streaks across the sky. Okay. I need a little bit of water because the paint is very in the hot heat. It dries out very quickly. I'm just painting along the edges because when I frame the piece, I don't want white to be showing on the edges, so I just paint it to the edges. And then I'm just going to try and lighten this a little bit because it's a little bit darker. So what I'll do is I'll lighten it as it comes to about here. So that's going to be where it's going to get a bit lighter. And because the sky isn't a straight line, I'm just going to blend this now just using the brush. And this is called feathering, where I just feather the colours together like this. And then just get your finger and I can just feather these colours together to make a nice soft transition between the darker blue and the lighter blue, like this. And then I need to go to a slightly paler blue, so obviously I'm just going to add more white. I need a little bit more blue on my palette because otherwise I'll run out, and I don't want to run out and have to then remix the colour and it might not be the right colour. So as I said earlier, skies tend to fade from darker to lighter. So I'm going to make sure that down here is very pale blue and then it fades a little bit and there's a few streaks between the colours. So let's see if I can get that nice lighter sky to come all the way down. I need quite a bit of paint. A bit more paint. Tiny bit of water just to make it all loose. And here we go. What you can see is I'm making circular marks like this, and it's kind of a technique that then makes sure all the paint is pushed into all the little bits of canvas because the canvas has got a texture. That way I don't have to go back over it later on, filling in all the holes and maybe not having the right colour. So I'm going to gradually fade this down as it comes down towards the sky. So I'm going to get my lightest colour here. I'm going to put a very pale blue along here because what I want to do is make sure that I am blending here from the very palest colour right up to that pale blue that I've already mixed. So then if I mix these two colours together, they should be the colour of this blue and this white together should give me the colour in the middle that I need to finish the sky. Simple trick, if you think you're going to run out of paint and it's oil paint and I can make it thinner or fatter. Fatter is when it's thick, thinner is when the paint is thinner. And if I get a tissue, bit of water, tissue might break down, so you need to turn it in case you don't want little blobs of tissue everywhere. And then what I'll want to do is, there's a bit of tissue, take that, make sure it's starting to look a little bit like the original picture. I think this was came down a bit further, and there's a lighter area underneath it, and this is a bit lighter down here. So why don't I adjust that and you can come back and see when it's finished.